back to the channel, and thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Now, we have had quite the exciting week in the L Word Generation Q fandom, as last week we got not only like great pictures from set, we got some guest star announcements, and we also got the enormous news, which if you don't know about a returning character, then I'll put in the description box where to skip to. But we learned that Helena is returning to Generation Q in season 2, and I dropped the news on Sunday. I was the first person to talk about it, so that's why you've got to subscribe to the channel to be the first to know about the news. And I dropped it really early on Sunday in the UK, so everyone on this side of the globe went crazy, and then by the time the US woke up, everyone was going crazy there too. So it was I really enjoyed that day. It was really fun with like everybody just being really excited. And if people weren't already pumped and excited for season 2, well, they certainly are now. There seems to be some real, there's always excitement, okay, around, a new season and new episodes, and I'm, obviously like the anticipation, because it's been so long since we've had a new episode, and then we only got those 8 episodes after being, years and years without the show. So maybe I'm getting too hyped too early, but I just have a feeling about season 2, like, they've been so guarded with it, but then we know like Tina and Helena are coming back, and there's just I just feel like it's gonna be really, really great. And I really do appreciate the cast, the crew, the writers, the directors, everybody who is not only going out and shooting the show, and they seem to be doing like some really intense hours. A lot of the actors talking about really early call times, but they're all doing it in masks, and like there's a silly things like the craft service is different, and all those things, that there's so many restrictions on them and what they're doing. So I really don't think that they all get enough praise for what they're doing, and it is why I try and every so often just give them a call out and give them a thank you, because without all these people the show wouldn't exist. And it means a lot to me, and even just having this YouTube channel, I really enjoy it. So I think it's really important to talk about how great everyone is, and that is also why I have those 2 rules on my channel: that be nice and don't talk about people's private lives and things, because I see, and this doesn't just go for the L Word, this goes for everything, like comments, and I see it especially bad on Twitter, that it's just, I just don't understand why you would ever want to say those things, when if you don't like someone or you don't like what they're saying, just, as I say, keep on scrolling, because why? Well, honestly, I could talk about this all day, but it really bothers me when I see people being really nasty for no reason, or just some of the things that are said. I really do find Twitter sometimes just, and that's why I do kind of stay in just the L Word bit, but it exists there too, that I don't understand this like adding and stuff too, where all it is putting negativity out there, and all I want to do is put some positivity out there. So sorry, going off on a little bit of a tangent there, but let's actually get into talking about the episode. As always, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, as that is the best possible way that you can support me. And make sure to stay until the end, because I am going to talk about Elcon, and if you don't know what that is, you want to know, trust me. So let's get right into today's episode. And this, It is truly terrible in the beginning, but the rest of it was not as bad as I remembered, but it's still bad. So probably the worst title of the L Word ever. Season 6, Episode 6, Lactose Intolerant. So we have the cold open and it is Helena's turn. How apt this week that Helena is the person we're focusing on in this episode, so it's kind of funny. And Helena is, called out by Jenny, and she tells Dylan, we were watching you and testing you. And I mean, this makes no sense whatsoever. Why, have they removed Jenny's brain? Just what is happening? It makes no sense. And then everybody's just like, that's Jenny. Do you not, when people are being incredibly inappropriate, do you not speak to them? Is that not what friendship, that's a part of it? And Shane just clearly, throughout this whole episode, absolutely detests Jenny. So Helena, is the person this week who's gonna kill Jenny. So, we've only got 2 episodes left. The last one, obviously, Jenny dies. So next episode, we just have Bette left. But this whole thing, it just, knowing how it ends and knowing the disaster and just that it was, it kills me every time. So I'll talk about the baby shower when I talk about Max, but Jenny and Shane just, I do not understand what's happened here, because Shane clearly, absolutely detests Jenny, wants nothing to do with her. I don't get it. Why with someone, and in this episode she clearly tries to go and cheat on Jenny with Nikki, and then she gets sick. What is this storyline? There's 2 episodes left. What are you doing? Oh my gosh, this whole thing is just awful. I cannot overstate enough, the Jenny and Shane thing is just what is happening. Jenny is just, this season, they really just decided, okay, we're gonna make her this caricature of a cartoon villain, and the jealousy and all the other, it's just so bizarre. It was overnight she's a different character, and then she's very possessive and jealous of Shane, which I've never really got Jenny had kind of a normal amount of jealousy and stuff, but with Shane, it's, at one point it basically seems as though they're trying to give the impression that Jenny poisoned Shane or something. It's just so weird. I cannot see the end of this soon enough. So Kit in this episode, pretty much nothing. Kit has no storyline this season, apart from every so often being a sounding board for Helena, or bigging up Bette. And Kit's basic storyline for this episode, for the season, is to continue to be so poorly lit that I'm going to put a picture on the screen that normally, if a screenshot's a little bit dark, I'll lighten it up or something, but I'm leaving this just as is to just again drive home the point that how is this the 6th season of lighting Pam Grier, and then the Sunset Boulevard character is new, but why are you not lighting people correctly on not only a television show, but on a paid for subscription channel? Sort it out, Showtime. please. Okay, so Max in this episode, not even gonna wait till the end for this. If you have not watched Disclosure, please, please, please go and watch it. It explains everything far more than I ever could, with people who are far more qualified to discuss the trans issues in the L Word. But please go and watch it. It's on Netflix, and Leo Sheng and Jamie Clayton from Generation Q are both in it, along with a bunch of other amazing people. So yeah, just to start off with, please go watch that if you haven't seen it. Secondly, just literally painful watching the beginning of this episode. But I honestly don't even know where to start. Like, the misgendering, why? I just don't understand why you would choose this for your third to last episode, to basically just misgender Max. And they show Max at the baby shower, and then Max isn't in the rest of the episode, because basically, I mean, for the last, basically forever, Max is just shows up like every few episodes for a scene or two, and either is like just treated badly to his face, or talked about awfully behind his back, or like it really, I do not know why they even had this. Like, this character was literally just a punching bag, and a lot of the time Max wouldn't even appear in the episodes, or if he did, like the season 5 finale, the extent of his involvement is hi guys, bye guys, and that's it. And like, I just don't, it really, again, go and watch Disclosure, because I don't even have anything else to say about the baby shower scene, other than it's just so uncomfortable, and Jenny is just like misgendering Max and being so mean and inappropriate, and just everybody is just like, what you gonna do? Like, just sitting there. And the only person who like shows kind of any kindness towards Max whatsoever is Tina, who obviously sees he's freaking out and is a bit like, okay, you know, listen, like I felt like overwhelmed too, you know, when the baby's born, like, you'll know what to do, like, don't worry. And that's like 2 seconds that they actually show Max some humanity. I mean, it is nice when Bette Tina like get him like a really, you know, nice stroller and stuff, and you know, some people would say, oh, that's them and they have money and they're flashing, but as someone who very understands and relates to Bette, like, she strikes me as one of those people that, and I do this a bit myself, is that you aren't necessarily great at like expressing love, like, I mean, yeah, like I can speak and say, and you know, but sometimes you will, and not necessarily flashy gifts. Like, okay, sometimes I do get people really nice gifts, but it's also about the thought behind it, and like, you know, I don't even know, like, we don't really know what is going on in Max's life. Like, at one stage he did have that really good job, but we never heard about that again. And the last thing we were led to believe is that, as Tom said, they both make a good living. I mean, maybe Jodie is paying Tom really good as an interpreter, but obviously Tom's fucked off now, and Max is still working for Alice, but Alice was on the show. Like, what happened to the chart? What did that mean for Max? Hell if we know. Hell if we, the audience, know, because why would we know? And Max is still living in like a glorified tool shed, so he can't be doing that well. So I think it, you know, like it was nice that Bette Tina got him that really nice stroller. Like at least it was something, you know, that he clearly needs and is going to use. And probably if he's living in a tool shed and his partner has fucked off, then maybe he couldn't have got such a nice stroller. So for this episode. Okay, so Helena in this episode, another character that changes with every season. So Helena, that when she shows up with Dylan, you know, I know some people really like Dylan, but I just really do not. I feel it's really cringe, and I just feel like there's no chemistry there. Like, but when they show up, like, there's just, you know, some vacant expressions and how could you do this, and she's gone. And then throughout the rest of the episode, Helena's like just drinking, like that's her storyline for the third to last episode. That's it. So that's Helena. Tasha and Alice continue again. Third to last episode. So this totally makes sense. They continue this weird tension with Jamie, and it, like, I don't know, they seem to be, it's just strange to me that they are like both separately having feelings for Jamie, and then that is like, I don't know. I'm again, I know some people like Jamie, but I don't know why you would introduce this character and this storyline so close to the end of the series when there's so much unresolved. And like, hey, remember at the start of this season when Tasha and Alice went to the worst therapist in the world, Dan Foxworthy? Like, so they're good now, but they clearly, like, both want to either cheat or leave each other for the same person. So yeah, nothing like opening up an unnecessary storyline with a new character a few episodes before the series ends, and there's literally so many open plots or open stories that just are never even dealt with or thought of again. So before I talk about Bette Tina, I'll talk about kind of two bright spots of the episode that, well, guest stars of the episode is Joyce Wishnia, and we meet Wheezy as well. Who, Joyce Wishnia, I mean, when she's texting Phyllis, like, I don't know why. I mean, you guys know that I do like Bette Tina, but I could laugh at them too and their ridiculousness. And just Joyce and her being bored to death by Bette Tina just, like, kills me every time. I think it's hilarious. And Wheezy is, I like just love, like, you never really see Bette Tina like be this way, like kind of like, I hate using this word because it sounds a bit weird, but playful, like, and just light, I guess. So I kind of enjoyed that, like, little interaction with Wheezy and stuff, and she's good stuff. Like, it's extra funny to me because I know someone who looks basically identical. She's a little bit taller and skinnier, but she looks exactly like Wheezy. And every time I see her, I think about her, and I'm like, it always makes me laugh. But yeah, I just love that, like, light thing. And then also the bit where Wheezy's like, literally just watch them make out, or, well, at least kiss each other, like, not friends, kiss each other. And she's like, oh, where's your sister? Like, this is what I mean by people for years had to, like, one of an older gay woman I know, she actually was my teacher at school, and she used to say her partner was her cousin, and you know, all the stuff like that had to go on because it just wasn't, you know, accepted. I don't know how to exactly explain this, but literally, like, people will see two girls making out and react like this and be like, oh, is that your friend or your sister or your cousin or something? And it's just like two women that people have this really hard time that believing that like two women can be completely satisfied with each other. And it's like, I have always, especially when I was coming out in the beginning, a lot of people would like really question my sexuality and be like, oh, are you sure? Like, oh, maybe you just haven't met the right man, and like they couldn't understand when I would just say like, I do not feel anything towards men, and the way you feel towards men is the way I feel towards women. Like, they just can't grasp that, and that like there can be everything that is between a man and a woman between two women. It's like, I mean, I could talk about this all day, that it like plays into the whole, either women are hyperly sexualized or they like need to be chaste nuns, and it's just, oh god, like honestly I could talk all day about it. But it's, you know, really really something that still exists, and people make comments to me all the time, like, in, you know, I guess it goes into the Wheezy thing too, like, oh, you don't look like a lesbian, and it's just this idea that people have in their head that obviously is not right, and I am always sure to adamantly correct them. So on to Bette and Tina, and just both of them. I mean, this is every episode, but I feel like both of them in this episode just looked absolutely amazing. Like, their hair, their makeup, like that dress that Bette wore to the opening, oh my god, be still my heart. They just both look fantastic. And obviously in this episode we are really seeing the new and improved, worked on Bette and Tina, where Bette, you know, explains to Kelly at one stage like, it's taken a really long time for us to get here. And I feel as though this Bette and Tina, you know, with a little bit of therapy, not from Dan Foxworthy, then they could have maintained this. And it also just again brings up the question as to Gen Q, what happened? What happened to them? We need to know what happened here. Did, you know, things slowly start creeping back to the way they were, like season 1 Bette and Tina, or what has happened? So I am hoping that in season 2 of Generation Q we are getting, you know, some more information on what has gone on in the past 12 years. And I'm really excited about seeing, because, you know, we only really got like a few scenes with Laurel and Jennifer, and we got, you know, the Angie and Tina scene, but we really didn't get a Bette, Angie and Tina scene. So I'm excited to see that. And also we have the addition of Rosie O'Donnell this year, which again, like I've said this multiple times, in my opinion it was a great decision to cast Rosie O'Donnell. Like I think that it would have been kind of cliche and boring if they would have just got another Bette clone, which, why would Tina have left Bette if she's just going to go and date someone who's exactly like her? So again, I'm just really looking forward to seeing Rosie, Jennifer, Laurel and Jordan like all together, and Rosie and Jennifer, and I think it's going to be great. So I'm really excited to see that and get some more answers as to what's gone on all these 12 years. But back to the past, I guess. So Bette and Tina find out from Joyce that, you know, Nevada at this stage in time was one of the only places that didn't allow gay parents to adopt. I mean, I do really understand what Bette's saying as well. Like, you know, you don't want to start things out on a lie. I mean, but a lot of people, that's what they had to do. Like I think Rosie O'Donnell, because Florida was one of those states back, I think this was before, like in the way earlier 2000s, when Rosie adopted her kids. I think I remember reading something about maybe she had to do that, or her first wife, I think her first wife's name was Kelly, had to do that, like with a single parent, and then when they went to New York, the other one adopts. But anyway, I totally agree with what Bette was saying, though, that like you don't want to start out on a lie, and Bette and Tina are in a privileged position with money and stuff, so they can move Marcy in, and they have the extension and all these things, and that's obviously setting up the storyline for next episode, which this was just really rushed, and no resolutions just didn't show up, and we never heard anything again. And another thing I'd really like to know in Gen Q, like, did they try again and adopt or another child, or did they like from the interrogation tapes, did Bette finally tell Tina that she wanted to carry the child, or what happened there, or just would like to know if even if they just had a conversation that was like, no, we're happy with our family as it is, and move on. Tina then goes to New York, and we get this subtle seed planted that, all of a sudden Tina like goes to New York, mentions New York, and again in 2 episodes they're leaving to go and live in New York. So again, more Gen Q stuff I'd like to know. Did they go to New York? Or did the whole thing with Jenny, like, people sometimes are really, really affected by, Jenny was their friend and stuff, but sometimes things that, they maybe should affect you, but not in like this enormous life-changing way, but they do, and sometimes it can be just something like that, like a death of a friend. So we don't know, like maybe they decided to pack it all in, not go to New York and stay here, and it just would be nice to know some of that stuff. But we also, they're just continuing on with the extension in the house, and then we get the opening of Bette and Kelly's studio while Tina's in New York, and Kelly, is making these comments about, oh, I thought Tina was like your wife, like why isn't she here, or just a wife, like why isn't she here? And I did really like Bette in that moment. Well, I always like Bette, but I really respected her in that moment where she kind of just was like, we've worked really hard to get here, this is the way our lives are, like my work is important, Tina's work is just as important too. And that really shows you how much Bette has grown and worked on herself. I think she could work on herself a little bit more, but she has come on leaps and bounds, because in the first season it was like Tina was just like her wife, and she was picking up her Jill Sanderson suit at the dry cleaners. So they have got it together a little bit more by now. This also reflects back on the fact that Tina did fill that very stereotypical role that women hold in pretty much majority of television, mainstream, like sitcoms and like romantic comedies and all these things, or action movies. Like there's always the male leads, and then their wife and their sister, and they're this, like it's always a woman attached to a man. So Tina did fill this bit of a stereotypical role in the beginning, where obviously Bette is, one of Jenny and Bette are the 2 main characters, and Tina was the main character's wife. Like we didn't really know a huge amount about Tina. Well, we still don't. But, eventually towards the end, we were starting to get Tina at work and to get a bit more information about Tina as a character outside of her relationship with Bette. So again, I hope we get more of that in Generation Q too. And so when they have the gallery opening, obviously it goes well, and then the night ends, Bette goes home, still looking fire, and Kelly turns up drunk accidentally smashes a glass. Bette bends down to pick it up, and Jenny, creeping from the house next door, it looks as though something else is going on, and we see Jenny take a picture, obviously thinking Bette is cheating on Tina, and that is where the episode ends. So we only have 2 episodes left of our retro review. What am I going to do with my life when this is over? Just joking. I have like a million things that I could be doing. And also, there'll hopefully be lots more stuff coming out about Generation Q. And hopefully it's not too long until we get season 2. Please, even a trailer, something. Give us something. Anyway, this episode... yeah, like the first 15 minutes are just truly horrifying. And again, go and watch Disclosure if you haven't seen it. The rest of the episode, I mean, obviously I like the Bette Tina stuff. I like them. Sue me. I know that some people don't, or, you know, have their own feelings about them, but I like them. And is that because I think Jennifer Beals is the hottest human on the planet? Maybe, okay? Maybe. Again, sue me. Like, I'm a woman with eyes. What do you expect? The rest of this episode was just a disaster, basically. Like, I mean, from the storylines for everyone, like, again, Alice, Tasha, Jamie... why is this happening in the last few episodes? Shane and Jenny, why is this happening at all, period? And the whole, you know, Helena and Dylan thing, why is this also happening? Like, these things should have been started, like, way, even at the beginning of season 6 would have made some sort of sense. But to just throw them in the last few episodes, and throw them in with truly some of the worst lighting I have ever seen in film and television, and to just top it all off, like with a little bit of sprinkles, was the truly horrendous cheater music at the end. Like, you know, it was so subtle, it kind of knocked you over the back of the head. So yeah, just wow. And that was the episode. So lactose intolerant, I mean, wow. Like, we should have known from the title that this was just going to be a hot mess express. And at least next week we get the dance episode, and that is the bright spot in the season 6 dumpster fire, because even though the dance episode, you know, there are some great moments, and again, sue me, I like Bette and Tina, and their dance is truly one of the hottest things to come out of this show, point blank, period. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a little like, as it really helps out the channel. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe, as don't you want to get that Generation Q Season 2 news first? So hit that subscribe button, and it really helps the channel out when you do that as well. Comment down below, let me know your thoughts about this episode, or what was your best and worst part of the episode. And if you want to also keep up with me and other L Word stuff, make sure to follow me on all of the social media platforms. And if you want to support the channel, or just get your hands on some cool L Word merchandise and some Miss G merchandise, check out my store that is linked in the description box down below. And the last thing to plug is every Friday I go live, usually 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern, and 11 a.m. Pacific. But this week we are doing LCon, the L Word After Dark. It is going to be huge, and I am going to be live on my channel with some very special guests, the L Word Online, Bette Tina House of Stir Fry, and the All Things Tibet podcast. So all of us will be having a chat about the show as a whole, how we started watching the show, like what we think of it, favorite characters, season 2 of Generation Q, what we think is happening, rumors we've heard, maybe spoilers, returning cast members. We're going to talk about it all. So if you have any questions or just want to talk about a certain topic, the link is now live and I've dropped it in the description box down below. So if you click on it, it will take you to the live, and you can just hit reminder now so that whenever it is happening, which it is happening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. UK time, and midnight Central Europe. So it will send you, YouTube will send you a little reminder saying, you know, this is happening now. And if you can't make it, you can drop your questions or topics you want to see discussed in the live chat right now. And anyone who asks a question, I will be picking 3 winners to win any piece of merch from my store. So make sure that you're a subscriber also, because you need to be a subscriber to win the merch. And make sure, you know, if you know other people who like the L Word, make sure to share the link and to tell other people about LCon so that they can join as well. I think it's going to be really, really fun, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all you guys there, and we will have a lot to discuss. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. You know, I really, really appreciate it, and everyone's, you know, support with all of the stuff that came out at the weekend, and just, you know, I know that I've got a few more Instagram followers and subscribers to the channel, so welcome. We are really happy to have you, and just thank you so much for your support. I love doing this. This is, you know, one of the big bright spots in my life, and especially, you know, being in Smockdown at the moment where I cannot leave my house. So this is great being able to chat to you guys that way. So make sure to stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.